You overrule too many cases and law will turn into chaos. And before you know it, you won't know what the law is.
Welcome back to America Decides. That was former Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer weighing in on the direction of the court. His comments come as justices prepare to hear oral arguments about legal access to the abortion drug called Mifepristone. The FDA says at least 5.9 million women have used the drug since its approval back in 2000. We are joined now by James Romoser and Shawna Mizelle. James is a legal editor for Politico, and Shawna is one of our CBS News campaign reporters. And of course, Major Garrett is here with me as well. We're fitting 4 people on set, so this is great. James, let me start with you. What is at stake in this decision? Can you describe how we got here? What's actually in dispute?
So what's in dispute at the court on Tuesday is a series of policies that the FDA enacted in 2016 and in 2021, essentially to expand access to Mifepristone, which is the primary abortion drug that is used as part of a 2-pill regimen for the majority of abortions in America today. And what those policies did, among other things, was allowed women to receive the drug via telemedicine appointments rather than coming in person to a doctor, to receive the drug by mail rather than picking it up, to expand the approved usage of the drug from 7 weeks of pregnancy to 10 weeks of pregnancy. And it also allowed nurse practitioners to prescribe the drug rather than just physicians. So it dramatically did expand the scope of access, and now the challengers to those policies are seeking to roll back those policies and roll back the access to the drug.
And Shawna, if the Supreme Court agrees to that rollback, what's the practical effect in a already transformed abortion access landscape in America?
This could have huge and wide-ranging implications across the United States, even in states where voters went to the polls and supported reproductive rights and enshrining the right to an abortion into their state's constitution, because that access to Mifepristone would be threatened based on however these justices rule.
I mean, I think that's such an important point here, that this would affect people in places where abortion is legal. I mean, we have such a patchwork of laws, so access depends on what state you live. This could potentially change a little bit of that. I'm curious, too, James, we heard from Justice Breyer. He has a book out, so he has been talking a lot about the court lately. And you heard him in there talking about how the court has been overruling too much. I'm wondering if that should be at all considered in this case.
Well, in this case, there's no particular precedent at stake like there was in the Dobbs decision that rolled back the constitutional right to abortion 2 years ago. It is, in a sense, unprecedented in the sense that this has never really been tried before. There's never really been a challenge to the FDA's policies about access or approval of a particular drug. And what the FDA has said, what the Biden administration has said, and what the pharmaceutical industry is saying is that if the justices allow these challenges to succeed, we will open the floodgates, the court will open the floodgates to all sorts of challenges, to all kinds of FDA approvals of any kinds of drugs that people have strong feelings about, like birth control, like IVF, like vaccines even. And it's never really been allowed before by courts, but this would, in a sense, open a floodgate well beyond abortion.
And Shawna, to that point, there is a long history of use of this particular regimen of 2 drugs, as James outlined. What's that history, and what is the pushback on this idea that there is something materially unsafe about this particular drug regimen?
Yeah, so Mifepristone has been approved by the FDA for more than 20 years, and so that's really what's under the scope now. And as he mentioned, it's used in a majority of abortion procedures, and so that's really what people are going to...
More than half, about just under 60%, right?
Yeah. And so a lot of women who have gone in abortion procedure have used this drug, but as well as women that have, struggled with miscarriages. This is also a drug that's used in that process as well.
So it is something that has an established track record of safety within the confines of that definition, correct?
Absolutely. So the safety isn't what's under scrutiny. It's those FDA regulations that they rolled back and relaxed some of those requirements, being able to mail it, as he mentioned, allowing nurse practitioners and other healthcare officials other than doctors to be able to prescribe this medication.
Those changes, some of them occurred during the Trump administration, did they not, James? 2019?
No, 2016 and 2021.
2021, okay.
That's right. So it was the Obama administration and the Biden administration.
Biden administration, got it, okay.
And, you know, we're all of this is coming, of course, in an election year. So we are looking at kind of the political ramifications of this. I know Democrats are obviously have been talking. I know you've been talking to campaign sources on the Democratic side. I'm curious how they are weighing this, and also has Trump weighed in on Mifepristone?
So as James mentioned, the Biden administration, Biden in his official capacity, has said that he stands by the FDA. But the Biden-Harris reelection campaign held a press call this morning on Mifepristone, specifically about this upcoming hearing, where they really sought to tie this to Trump. They emphasized that he appointed 3 of the Supreme Court justices who will be hearing these arguments. And these justices also supported overturning Roe versus Wade with the Dobbs decision. Trump himself has really not spoken out on this. That remains to be seen. But as you said, all of this coming during election year, and as we are expecting former President Donald Trump to come out and announce his policy on a national abortion ban, where he would draw the line as it relates to a time period, 15 or 16 weeks.
James, as you're well aware, there are conservatives who take issue with the quote-unquote administrative state. They think the bureaucracies and agencies such as the Food and Drug Administration overstep either congressional letter of the law or the history of the application of their regulatory power under that letter of the law. Do these changes in 2016 and 2021, to your mind or to the minds of other experts, create some sort of basis to say the administrative state has kind of run amok here?
Well, I do think that it's possible that some of the justices, the conservative justices, will see it that way. And there's already been a series of cases this term involving the Supreme Court's concerted effort to chip away at the power of federal agencies. And so I do think that that theme does lurk in the background. However, this case is about abortion, and any time a case involving abortion comes before the Supreme Court, it's about abortion. And justices tend to put aside their feelings on other aspects of the law, like whether that be textualism or originalism, or their feelings about the administrative state. I think that how the justices feel about abortion will be the primary animating factor, whether they sort of acknowledge that forthrightly in their opinion or not.
Important point there. James and Shawna, thank you very much for being with us. We really appreciate your time.